Hey guys, Eric here. It's Friday. I just want to do a quick video responding to a couple of comments under yesterday's video where I talk about Critical Drinker, the Fantastic Four review. I also mentioned Nerdrotic and Jester Bell. And in the middle of the video, I start talking about how the last two movies we've had, Superman and Fantastic Four, have really dismantled their narratives about woke ideology and all of these other claims they've made. Because for years, they've just been like objectively, which means factual, right? That's what objective means. Subjective is an opinion. Objective is factual. Objectively, these movies have ideology in them. Objectively, they're pushing narratives or pushing agendas. Objectively, the movies are bad because of XYZ. This has been their claims for years. And this is what has driven their narrative. It's been the foundation of everything they've done. DEIA this, wokeness this, get woke, go broke. All of these things are things that they have been saying that you as a viewer can just tune in and you can see it. It's right there in your face. This is what they have done. And I mentioned this much more truncated in the middle of my video. And then I've had a couple comments here that want to challenge me a bit on these things. And I thought this is a good opportunity for me to explain in more detail why the current opinions, and they are opinions, on Superman and Fantastic Four break down the consistent chud narrative. And it's very telling. And the fact that some of their viewers don't understand that this is an erosion of that foundation is quite shocking to me, to be honest. So let's quickly go through this. Before I read these two comments and explain all of this in detail, don't send hate to any of these people on my behalf. If you want to respond to them in your own way and leave your own thoughts and opinions, feel free to do so. You don't have to do it on my behalf. I appreciate that you want to do that, but you don't have to. Okay, I'm gonna handle business right here. Okay. So Dev says here, it's almost as if they aren't a monolith. So you're saying they're not monolithic, even though these guys have shared the same opinions on media for over half a decade. But they're not monolithic, according to you. You can go to any of these channels and hear the same 4 or 5 talking points over and over and over again. It is a core value for them to share these talking points. So saying they're not monolithic is crazy. It's crazy. It is. I'm telling you, Dev, sorry, I'm going to diagnose you from this side of the screen. There is something wrong if you don't think that these guys have shared the same talking points for years. I don't know what fucking channels you've been watching, but it's certainly not Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, and the Fandom Menace guys. It can't be. It can't be because literally, they make the same videos. So I'm not sure what channels you're watching that don't share the same values and opinions, but it's not these guys. You might want to check your browser history. And then here, and claiming opinions are lies. Yes, opinions can be lies. I know that's hard to believe, but someone can be giving an opinion that is also a lie. Just like somebody can be saying something is objective and factual and that being a lie as well. Shocker, opinions can be lies. What are we doing here? Yes, they're lying. When they're going around and collecting bad faith information from uncorroborated sites, they know that those sites are not real and they spread them on purpose. We are far beyond the reality where it's like, well, maybe Cosmic Book News is real. Maybe that Park Place is real. We're far beyond that. They know that those sites are propaganda sites. They know that those sites spread lies and false information. They know that. They're not that stupid. Apparently you guys must be, but they're not that stupid. So when they take information from those sites and they decide to use them in their videos, they know there's an extremely high probability that those things are false. In response to this Fantastic Four video with Critical Drinker, about a month ago, he made a whole video presenting these rumors as actual scoops and information that he had, making the movie sound like it was going to be shit. This is something that he did. He took it upon himself to do that because he was doing exactly what all the other channels were doing, which ties back to your first comment about them not being a monolith. They absolutely have been. They absolutely have been. Those values are shared across all the channels. So he did that knowing that. So yes, he was giving his opinion on false information, therefore spreading lies, knowingly spreading lies about it. And as far as destroying the narrative of them being on the same script, my person, my dude, my girl, whatever. Here's the deal. If they start going off script, if they start doing that, they lose their power in every way possible. Let me explain to you in detail why that is. In order for something to be objectively bad, there cannot be a different opinion. If something is an objectively bad movie, if it just is, and there are reasons why that you can see in the film, you cannot have a different opinion. This is one of the things that we have been screaming about for years. They say that things are objectively bad, factually bad. For example, if there's vanilla ice cream sitting on your desk, it looks like vanilla ice cream, and you say it tastes like vanilla ice cream, and then somebody comes over and said, I don't know if I believe you, they taste it, and they say it tastes like strawberry, it is no longer objectively vanilla ice cream at that point. That is how it works. That is what we're dealing with here. So if they're not on the same script, we start to unravel piece by piece their grift and their narrative. If we are no longer talking about objectives, then we're saying all of the years that they have accused Disney, Marvel, Star Wars of pushing a woke ideology onto kids, all of the years of them saying that, it now becomes an opinion. That becomes an opinion. And then you have to wrestle with the fact that people have bullied people have gone after people, ruined lives and careers of people based on someone else's opinion. Conspiracy theory bullshit that has been pushed as objective reality now falls into the subjective opinion category if there's no longer a script. If they're no longer monolithic, now it comes down to them just deciding to post videos and content that is pushing racist, homophobic, transphobic, sexist, misogynistic, ableist narratives against people just because. Just because. If it's no longer objective and factual and all of them are on the same page, then we have to wrestle with the fact that they cherry pick the things that they want to complain about from an opinion point of view, from a subjective point of view, and they decided to push that, and every one of their viewers fell in line and started doing the same thing. Then you have to wrestle with the fact that you have harassed people in Star Wars, you've harassed people in Marvel, you've harassed people at Disney and all these other gaming studios and stuff. You have harassed them based on the opinions of some person on YouTube. It erodes their entire argument, their entire foundation, their entire narrative. Once they have decided these are no longer objective things, get woke, go broke isn't objective anymore. It's just an opinion. Woke ideology being pushed on kids, it's just an opinion. There's some sort of like MCU thing going on. That's just an opinion. They've gone on shows like Piers Morgan multiple times and pushed these things as mandates from Disney. They've gone on and said that Disney mandates these things. If these things are opinions, they can't be mandated because they are no longer objectively real. It's no longer a fact. So now that they've had different opinions about Superman and Fantastic Four, and none of them are on the same page, congratulations, their entire grift, their entire narrative, their entire platform has crumbled beneath them like sand, and they have nothing left. If they're not all on the same page, you have been duped into following the opinion of one person who has convinced you that you should be harassing everyone involved with Disney Studio projects. That you should be harassing people on the internet, that there is no woke ideology, that there is no pushing things on children, that there is no threat to society from them. You have to convince me that the government now no longer is using wokeness in a real objective way, that it's all subjective. And then, welcome to our world. This is what we've been saying all along. All of these things are subjective. All of them are conspiracy theories. All of them are things that these guys do to push narratives to make money off the backs of people like you who just take what they say at face value and go with it because you've decided that it's easier for you in this world to listen to somebody force feed you lies and tell you that it's objectively true. And then when they change the script, you just go, hey, they have different opinions. You have been effectively brainwashed by these channels. You have been effectively brainwashed by these channels, Dev. I hate to say it, but you have. All right. With that being said, one more comment, let's go. Second and lastly, we have Benjamin here. Again, don't send hate towards these people on my behalf, and says, in what way was he lying? He wasn't. My person, my dude, he was lying the entire time. If there is no objective reality in the sense of like why movies are bad, wokeness, all those things, if those things do not exist objectively, then it becomes an opinion based on lies. Everything that his house has been built on, everything that their houses have been built on has been on lies, as I said a second ago. That's just the reality of it. Once we start seeing them stray from that narrative that they've created, once that starts to happen, everything else starts to fall apart. Do you know how these channels got so popular in the first place? You know how they got popular in the first place? They got popular by like parroting the same talking points. They did it for years. And we are seeing now these channels are getting diminishing returns because they're no longer aligned and on the same page. And then you start to understand, hey, maybe there's a reason why they were all saying the same thing. Maybe there's a reason why they were all reading off the same script. Maybe there's a reason why they had to other everybody in order to amass their community that comes over and watches their content. Maybe there are reasons why that are not real. Maybe it was about money. Maybe it was about social media clout. Maybe, just maybe, that's what it's been about all along. And when you have videos like this with Fantastic Four, where everyone has a different opinion about it, that is great for people like myself that has said that all of this stuff is subjective, but it is bad for people like those guys because they say that things are objectively bad. They say that things are obviously bad. They're saying that these are mandates from the studio. Again, without repeating myself, because I've already talked for like 12 minutes now. All of these things go against their narratives. Once all of that is removed and the wizard comes out from behind the curtain in Oz, you start to realize that all of it was fake and you fell for it. And now you're trying to double down on being the mark, being the patsy for all of their shit. You guys don't have to do that. Matter of fact, you can just stop supporting the content altogether and comment on no videos and walk away from this and nobody ever has to know. But you don't have to continue to simp for them. That's on you.